Welcome to Trading Lounge and the European indices. Today I'm just going to cover the DAX because all the patterns are the same. So we're just going to drill into this little area here and look for a setup to trade short if it eventuates. Okay, so what I want to say before we go though is that from the top here, this little move down here is in 3 waves. Now it looks like it can turn into 5 waves in terms of wave 4 and wave 5 here, and this is what we're going to be looking at. If, however, this ends up just being the A, the B and the C here and then moves up through here, then our trigger would be support on this 12.8 area here. We still expect the S&P to move higher. I suggest watching that video to see what triggers are involved in that video there. But I'm going to go to the 15-minute chart and just basically map out what I think would be a reasonable shorting process here, and having the evidence in place and so on. So first of all, the sharp move down through here as wave 1, and then an A and a B and a C for wave 2 here, and this appears to be, well, I'm calling it a 3rd wave because it's very sharp, isn't it? It's not like it's on an angle, so to speak. So it's definitely got the personality of a 3rd wave, and there are 5 waves in here. So the 4th wave normally pulls back to the 4th wave of 1 lesser degree, or the 38.2%. So it is a little bit higher than where it is now in a sense. So we could actually see it move high. That would be sort of into the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree. So it still could just push a little bit higher here. So just be a little bit mindful of that. But I don't think that's the problem here. So it could have, look, basically it could move down lower a little bit first and then move up. But I don't know. It's sort of okay moving down from here as well. But we just really want to see that move down. But just be mindful that what I'll do just to balance that out, I'll just do it from here. So when it moves down here, obviously it's going to find support, isn't it? It may just come a little bit lower than here for this wave 5. There's good support here. And the 12,650, this 650 is a very important number, as I always point out. It's halfway between the 800 and the 500. And you can also look for the 50% between these two numbers here as well. So what we'd be looking for then is we would be looking for, from this top here, let's just say a little bit below there, but we could put it on there, and then we would be looking for the 50-60% retracement level. So we're in this space here, and we would be looking at that in terms of 3 waves. So we can just draw that out from here. So the first wave will come up basically into where most of the supply is in this space here, and then be pulled back down to the 50 or 60% mark here, and then up into this space here. I'm just going to take it to the 50 here, because I think that this is a number that we'll need to reconcile with. It would be nice if it traded above the 50 here, because if it sits up here and then locks under here, then we can have our reference point, like this would be a reference point here, wouldn't it, if we drew that across here. Sure, you could sharpen it up and put it across here and so on and so on. But that's basically what we would be looking for here. So the A wave here, A wave there, B wave, and the C wave here, I'll put that just in the middle there. So that's basically what we're expecting, and then we can start to look to short. Now, obviously, there's if it trades above the 50 here, then you can use the 50 as it locks under here. So just as an example, it moves above here as such and comes back and bounces on it, comes back here, moves under it. Not always, but most of it didn't do it here, so it's easy to make, easy to prove me wrong. But in most cases, you'll see a retest here of supply, and then just under here will be your trigger to move down. So in this little section here too, if you can count 5 waves. I mean, if the timing is good, we'll be there with you, but let's just sort of, third wave normally hits the levels as a bit of a target point, you know, because third waves are a bit exciting, and then the fifth wave to fold out here. So it would be bounce down. I mean, don't get fixed on this, but it'll be, I'm just giving you a variety of things to look at as it unfolds. So if you can count the 5 waves here and then 5 in here, well, then you can, you know, short a small, very small amount above and then under here as well. Because the thing is, if we get this 5 waves down here, that means that after a corrective move in 3 waves, we're going to get another 5 waves down. So the other point here too is that once we've got this low in place, we've got the A and the B wave here, then we've got another way to move in as well from these 2 lows here. And as I talked about this little pattern here, that tends to happen on trend lines as well. When the market is migrating from one side to the other side, it'll do something like this here as well. So that creates another opportunity. So yes, I know we could have shorted at the top and so on and so on. But hopefully this wave, we will call this wave 1 here. And wave 2 here. And that should give us, oops, daisy, I got that on cap locks. So that should give us, because waves 2s can pull back up. So if you're shorted in here somewhere where you sort of recognize it, then you still need to sort of cover that scenario, that you know, the pressure on the recovery here, unless you've traded it out. But you know, we're basically talking about trading much further down. So this would be a good opportunity here, because this will be the 3rd wave coming down. But also too, just remember too that when the 3rd wave starts down, if we take this little wave 1 here, I'll just put him there, and this little wave 2 here, that will come back 50 or 60% as well. So you need to accommodate that bounce too. So what we'd be looking for here is that we'd look at 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, coming back into this, something like this here, and then back mirroring the other side here, because markets do mirror each other, because that's where the volume is sitting. And then we're back up here again, and then we would be down for 1 again, back for 2 again, probably not as that big, and then, you know, further down here. So give this a little bit of thought. And also too, we can look at just looking at this trend line here as well. So it may all contain itself within this trend line space. So just be mindful of that. If it gets on the other side, that's good, and then just leave the trend line in, because it will play a central role in the speed line of it coming down. Okay, so anyway, we'll see. We've got a few sessions, and we'll shoot the breeze a little bit further, but I think there's some really good opportunities going to present themselves here. So one of the things too is not to get too excited about it, and do not overtrade. If you can get a couple of small positions in, whatever your count size is, then you can look to add to that, of course. And most people play the short game, but in this case here, we can play a longer game to the downside. So building in on these series of 1s and 2s here will be very important, because it will give us a buffer further down as well. Okay, we'll talk more about this later. Cheers.